Well, howdy, howdy, howdy. Nearly senior citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this, a brand new day. Late day for me, but still, remember, no matter who you are valid. And each one of my Patreon patrons, you are beautiful and awesome people. I haven't yet been able to put names up here with all my nerve compression issues, but when you look in the mirror, you are looking at someone who is beautiful and awesome. Thank you so very, very much. Also, I want to thank two people who have left me comments yesterday. There was Chris, who changes their username on a fairly regular basis, and Larry from Space. Thank you both very, very much for the comments. It is appreciated. Yay! But I have written down some stuff here because it's late in the day and I have memory issues and there's all sorts of things. So I got stuff written down, but I took a walkies this morning and then I have been struggling. I fell asleep in my chair, took a nap for a while, been struggling again to wake up. It's almost 4:30 p.m. This is going up very late today. Hokey smokes, I have not been able to function. Part of that, I believe, is because of the pain-related insomnia. I've had a lot of no sleep. I mean, how you can have a lot of nothing, but I have not slept a lot, and I think that's finally caught up with me. Plus, I have been taking a lot more gabapentin because I had been off of it for 2 days, effectively, and so I wanted to get control of the pain. And one of the side effects, well, several side effects of gabapentin, but some of them are like getting tired and super sleepy and such like that, as well as garbled speech and more. Because when I went out walkies today, now I normally have, I don't feel a pull or anything, but I will have issues where I'm suddenly finding myself right on the edge of the sidewalk and I gotta pull myself back to a normal thing. I'm right on the edge of something, and sometimes they're so hard I have to balance on my right leg so I don't go that way or fall that way, and then well, you heard one of the infamous times when the smoke alarm goes off. Why does it go off? Nobody knows. A lot of people have issues with this where all of a sudden it goes off. They don't know why. I have no clues. So I stood underneath the smirk alarm, so called because of a stupid meme, but I just stood underneath it wondering what the hell to do with it this time, and then it turned off. So yeah, so far it hasn't happened while I've been in bed sleeping. It has happened to people that way. I've been out walking late and it's been going off in somebody else's place. So it is fun. You never know. I can't remember what I was talking about. If I look over here, no. Oh yeah, it was dizziness. Okay, dizzy. Yeah, normally I have that small pull to the right, but this morning I was super dizzy. I was being pulled actively to the right or the left. Now, normally I can shut my eyes and walk, and the only thing that I have to worry about is, am I walking true? Can I walk 30 feet and get close to where I was trying to walk to, or am I veering off? And I never walk like 30 feet, but I'll go 10 or 12, open up my eyes, and I'm still on the sidewalk where I'm supposed to be. This morning, I would shut my eyes. Within 3 steps, I felt like I was on a tightrope going like this, side to side. Even a long blink was enough to make me disoriented for a second or so. It was bad. I was feeling that pull to the right and to the left constantly. So that was fun this morning. Again, I'm thinking it's the gabapentin. I'm hoping, because I had the day before or so, I was thinking about, or no, it was this morning. Yeah, it's so hard to remember. When I first started the walk, I'm going to talk about this other person, but there's a person that I watched a video of. They just suffered a stroke. And so I've got that on my mind. And then I'm walking, but I'm having difficulties because I'm so dizzy. And I've had a headache. So, of course, hypochondria comes knocking up on the door and says, gosh, are you having a stroke? So, hypochondria was fun this morning as well, adding to my general anxieties. But when I got up and started getting ready today, on my subscription list was a video from a fellow, and it is horrible. I was crying so hard. He's a younger fellow, and by mid 30s, late 30s, I mean early 30s, he looks like. His name is like Austin McConnell, and 3 weeks ago he did a video saying, I'm going to have open heart surgery. And then 1 week ago he did a video, or yeah, like 1 week ago did a video, maybe it was done before, pre-planned, and went up, you know, and it was just talking about his normal stuff he does on his channel. And then up came the video this morning, and this is one of the things that can happen when you have things like open heart surgery. A blood clot can form and then break loose, or it could be some other fashion, but he had a stroke that paralyzed half of his body. And when he came up to talk about it, I mean, again, he's young. He's got a beard and hair. You know, maybe he uses products, but with the color of his hair and the way it looks, it doesn't look like there's any gray at all in his hair, so he's younger. And he's having difficulties talking. He can only go for a short sentence, and then he has to stop and then talk again. And it was, you can tell, it was hard for him to talk. And that's awful. He's still requiring a lot of help. I mean, it was only 3 weeks ago he had the surgery, or when it was posted, so who knows when it actually happened, but and so when he was just talking about what happened to him and what he's suffering from, it was just, I was crying. It was awful. So yeah, I don't want to have a stroke. It's one of my fears. He says, you know, just recovering from this thing has been not just on the top of the list or near the top of the list of most difficult things he's ever had to do. No, this is the most difficult thing he has ever had to deal with in his entire life. That's nice to know. Let's laugh, because biology is frightening. You know, I've had a myocardial infarction, you know, a heart attack, and didn't even know it. And one of the risks of that is increased risk of stroke. So I've got general anxieties, and having this, watching this poor guy, oh, I feel so bad for him. And at the same time, hypochondria again knocking on my door, especially now. So that's fun. And I feel so bad for that poor guy. Oh, let me take a look on here. Oh yes, this is one. I was also thinking about this one, because I talk about, I talk violently. I talk of violent things and violence in media. I'm pro that. And how all the violent things I speak of, I enjoy. but it's all in fiction. And I realize that the difference between real life and fiction, because I hate real life violence, and again, I'm crying so hard at just this guy having a stroke. I could not work in an animal rescue situation because you have to euthanize about 50% of the animals that come in. I couldn't do that. It would just destroy me working in that kind of environment. So I am so glad there are people that can. Fictional violence, I'm all for. Real life violence, no. But I, in a half-awake state, decided to follow this because I was thinking about that in my, oh gosh, you know, I look like I'm this, but I've got a great idea for the violence thing with this movie idea I've had, which is just the contrivance. Again, all fictional violence using makeup, but the movie is called, like, you know, violently murdering 6 or 7 or whatever half-naked people, and the plot is just a contrivance to drag them from, you know, place to place to place, where each time they get to the place, 1 or 2 or whatever number of them are violently murdered, just treated like, you know, the human body is just nothing more than meat to be destroyed, because that's all we deserve. And I stopped, and actually physically stopped, and actually physically said, after coming to that final conclusion from, you know, premise to conclusion, it was a, oh my God, that is bleak. That is horrible. And yet, that is a logical conclusion for the premise that, you know, human bodies are meat to be destroyed for our entertainment or less. You know, an environment where if you're walking along an alley and there's someone in the alley, it is actually easier to take your weapon and put a hole in their skull so they fall to the ground dead so you can step over their corpse. That's easier than saying, hey, could you step? I gotta move through. Because the human body is just meat. Bleak. Again, luckily I don't feel that way. But when you follow some of the things that you think of, you can go to very dark places with those premises. Now, that is not the end grand total. That is a path you can take to get to a conclusion. The way that I feel and the way my life experiences and such have treated me have influenced the path that leads to that conclusion. So that is not the only one conclusion, but it is certainly a conclusion. The screen turned off and I've got that little text window over there I need to look at, so now I got to bring it back up, and it takes time. My apologies. So yeah, I was kind of stopped in my tracks a bit on that one. In fiction, yeah, I tend to be of that mindset where the human body is just treated as meat, but that's only a premise and a conclusion amongst a wide rainbow of premises and conclusions and where they can go. Let me see. Oh, the only 2 other real things I've got up there, one of them is sensory overload. I have had to wear earplugs most of my life. The only times I haven't, I talk about having pain-related insomnia and how hard it is to sometimes stay asleep. But I wear earplugs. When I was younger, there were times when I could not get earplugs, like the 4 years I was in the Air Force. where I had so much trouble sleeping because the world is so loud. I get audio sensory overload, even through my earplugs. You may have heard the little refrigerator click on back there behind me. Through earplugs, click, click, I'm awake over there. When I'm wearing earplugs, yeah, they cut off high frequency sounds, low frequency sounds, but I get all of them middle frequency sounds almost like I'm not wearing earplugs. It just turns the volume down halfway. Sorta. Everything is still so loud. Such is life, though. What can you do? I mean, I could certainly make the world a lot quieter if, like, I took a long, thin piece of metal and popped each one of my eardrums, but... And if that action and words went and was disturbing, if you could type Kleenex into the comments to let me know that I gave you a very, very horrific mental image and feeling, and to let the YouTube algorithm know that people watch the videos, that would be awesome. Thumbs up, thank you, and my apologies for that horrific pantomiming of my eardrums being punctured by long, thin pieces of metal that have to be driven in like a spike into someone's head. So, thumbs up for that. And the only last thing I've got is I started thinking about this one because of all the microplastics that I worry about in our environment anyway, and then suddenly thinking, you know, I've got all this foam stuff, and foam gives off its own microplastic particles, a lot of them, especially when you have to do the things that I have to do, which is I've got two toppers on top of each other and they move, so there's friction. I've got my sheet and stuff tucked in underneath those, and the sheet pulls at the foam underneath, causes issues. Behind me, I had, it used to be free and open, just a cut out chunk of memory foam to use for my back pillow. That gives off massive particles. Everything I've got in here gives off massive particles. While this air conditioner, of course, just recycles the air in the room and thus kind of filters air. I need to figure out how to change the filter on that thing. But I think I'm going to have to get some kind of air filter to turn on in here to try and filter out some of the foam particles, because I keep the windows shut. It's summer, and during the winter time, that's when I keep the windows open so air can get in. But right now, because it's so hot outside because it's summer, I keep them shut, which means all the microparticles are stuck in. Which I wonder now, those things are super, super, super sensitive to everything, and I've got a lot of foam microparticles in the air. I wonder if that's triggering them as well, because they trigger on dust and pollen. That might be an indicator of how many microplastic microparticles I have. Yay! And I don't want to be breathing them constantly, so I think getting an air filter to run in here at least part of the day might be a good idea. Thumbs up on that. So, if you have left me any comments in the comment section, thumbs up and thank you. I read them all. I read the ones that YouTube shows me. I thumbs up and heart the ones that I can, because YouTube doesn't show me all the comments, but I do what I can, and I appreciate each and every one of you. I answer as many as I can, but with my nerve compression issues, it is difficult. Ooh, bumped the table with my arm. I move my arm around like it's okay. Days like yesterday, I'm holding it like it's in a sling, or just letting it lay in my lap. And I can't use it because it is just pain all the way from here on down. I wish this didn't affect my quality of life so much, because I cannot play the games that I used to play. I can play some if I use my left arm, but that really hurts and drives things right up to the edge a whole lot faster than I like. So I have to use the controller, and so many of the games I enjoy don't use a controller. So yeah, it's affected my quality of life quite a lot. Thumbs up. And then, of course, on the 1st of this month, I'm trying to wind up, but I want to talk about things, and I have ADD, so I keep jumping from subject to subject. But on the 1st of this month, I'm having a colonoscopy, maybe, because I had to pay for my prep for it, and suddenly remembered just this morning, the VA is supposed to be paying for these things. Maybe they didn't run it through the VA, and they're supposed to have. So on Monday morning, I gotta call them up and say, did you guys run this through the Veterans Administration? And if they didn't, I'm not having a colonoscopy on the 1st. If they did, I am, and everything's okay. I'm just paranoid. But I am paranoid, so I gotta call them up and find out. And good old me, I don't know how the heck this happened, I got the colonoscopy scheduled for the morning. And I have a doctor's appointment that morning. And I have a podiatry appointment for my bone spurs that morning. So I gotta try and cancel and reschedule a whole bunch of appointments once I figure out whether or not they've run things through the Veterans Administration. Thumbs up. Thank you if you've left a comment. It is appreciated. So, bunk, until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side, and that is indeed a very, very good thing. I mean, holy smokes. Life is fun sometimes, isn't it? Those bloody snorkel lambs. You take care. Ugh.